All right, so today we'll study IPsec. So we have seen two types of VPN, uh, basically based on L2 technology, uh, L2TP and PPTP, and also looked at a generic form of that, which is called GRE. Today we'll study the most important one, or the one which is gaining popularity, is called IPsec. Because even L2TP and PPTP cannot work without encryption algorithms. Right? So the L2TP and PPTP define encapsulation method or tunneling method, uh, and beyond, and they take help of some L2 technology, which is PPP protocol. Okay, but encryption comes from IPsec. Okay, so today we will look at IPsec in general. It's very complex protocol. Okay, and until unless you really read about 100 pages of this protocol, it is extremely hard to understand because it has large number of variants. It has lot of choices of protocols, right? A user based on can choose multiple options. Okay, different kind of encryption, different kind of headers, and then key exchanges, different kind of hashes. So the combination put together becomes very large, right? And it's based on policies, right? So and there's a policy database, and then each user or each gateway will have its own database and all that, right? So that makes life little difficult. So I will try to give you concept from higher level perspective without going into details of protocols. Okay. If you really want to understand, how what are the different fields and how they really operate, you'll have to go to possibly a book that's based only on IPsec. Largely Cisco site or Juniper site will have enough information. All right. So we will study in brief the following topics: VPN architecture or VPN introduction. Then we'll look at IPsec architecture. We'll look at different modes in which it works, different headers, different protocols, and how keys are exchanged. It's called IKE protocol, and we'll study in brief within that Diffie-Hellman protocol of key exchange. Right. So Diffie-Hellman protocol came first, and based on that, another protocol, which RSA, which we studied in brief, that's using public and private key, was derived. Okay. I will leave it to you to go into details of Diffie-Hellman. It's very intuitive protocol, but it requires understanding of modular mathematics. Okay. So I will leave it at that point into this class. And if time permits, then we'll look at some other topics, like, as we said, NAT protocol. Okay, these are the references I have used for this presentation. You can read them if you have time. Okay, now motivation for VPN, we know, right? Because internet is not designed for security in mind. So this protocol works at layer 3. Okay, so we have seen so far that at layer 3 protocol, that IP protocol has a lot of weaknesses. For example, there is no authentication of source address. Anybody can fake anybody else's source address. IP spoofing is very common, right? I mean, one can always, spoof somebody's IP address or destination address, and have some kind of attack. And we have studied denial of service attack using DNS query. Okay. Man in the middle attack is very common. It can easily be done. Right, if you are able to intercept IP packet somewhere, and then you can recreate, new packet with changed identity or the same identity with changed content. Okay, and in IP protocol, this one has capability. It means any node or any host has capability to send IP packet to anybody else. Is it good or bad? It's good because if this functionality is not there, then internet will not work. Is it bad because it can be exploited? Okay, so it's like in the world, you can meet anybody, right? I mean, ideally, you should be able to meet anybody, but it's but would you like to meet, say, for example, Prime Minister of India? Anybody would, if I want or all of us want to meet him, he will just spend whole day attending us, right? So point here is that while this is how internet works, but it leaves lot of holes to for an attacker to manipulate. Okay? All right. So now this protocol that we are going to study, which is IPsec, works at layer 3. Okay. It means that it's transparent to protocols above that. Okay. So for example, at transport layer or even at application layer. Application layer will not know that packets are going through tunnels, right? Even in whatever layer 2 VPN we have studied or which possibly you are using to connect to say IIT intranet, the application that you are running, right, say HTTP or whatever, will not know that there is a tunnel inside. So similarly here, IPsec VPN is, since it works on top of IP, but below other layers, okay, so it's transparent to higher layers. Okay. All right, so this diagram shows exactly this point that uh, security is provided by IPsec uses IP. So we can feed this as a layer 3 protocol. And then there is SSL that we'll study later, will work on top of transport layer protocol. Okay, let's move to the next one. So goals of IPsec are the following. Okay, verify sources of IP address means that we are doing authentication. Okay, then we are checking integrity and confidentiality of packets. Okay, these two terminologies I'm sure you know because we have repeated this hundreds of times. And prevents replaying of old packets. Replaying means that I mean somebody in the middle is able to record this and then rerun the sequence or rerun resend this packet sequence of packets to get into something or do something, right? We have seen this earlier that how we can replay and how can we prevent from this, right? And usually the method used for prevention is use of nonce. Okay, the number that is used once, right? So anyway, so we'll not go into detail. Obviously, it provides security to higher layer protocols and applications. Okay, IPsec is not a one protocol. It's just not one simple protocol. Okay, it's a set of protocols and algorithms to secure IP data at network layer. Okay, so there are a number of protocols are defined, and we this IPsec, when it is in use, the user has to pick up one of the protocols and one of the methodologies, right? Okay, so essentially, it enables system to select required security protocol and key distribution method. So IPsec in general uses following technologies. It uses encryption for confidentiality, hash for integrity, signature and certificate for authentication, and key distribution for distribution of keys, right? Because the whole idea of IPsec is that confidentiality and integrity is to be provided with authentication. And in order to have confidentiality, we will use encryption, which is symmetric encryption. Okay. That's assumption that most of the time people use symmetric encryption, not public and private asymmetric encryption, right? Because symmetric encryption is fast. Okay. Now, in order to apply symmetric encryption, the keys have to be distributed, or both hands should have same keys. Okay, and these keys cannot be given permanently. Hence, when we are going to establish a channel, then keys can be distributed. And we have seen one method of key distribution earlier, that we can use RSA algorithm or public key private key algorithm to distribute symmetric keys. Okay, the same concept we are going to use here using Diffie-Hellman algorithm, but Diffie-Hellman algorithm came prior to RSA algorithm. Okay, it was actually from this RSA was evolved by MIT. Diffie-Hellman algorithm was developed at Stanford. Okay, let's look at simple use cases. Now, use cases are very similar to what we have seen earlier in L2 VPN. So we can connect two campuses of one office, right? A remote office and main office through a VPN, IPsec VPN. Or we can, a business partner connect to extranet of the office. Similarly, somebody is working from home, can connect through point of presence, which means that from home we can have DSL connection or broadband connection or Wi-Fi connection or whatever. And some point of presence we can connect to service provider, and from there we can connect to main office or to some other person through VPN. Okay? Or mobile worker just has a mobile phone for connectivity, can connect it using VPN to main office or anybody else. All right. So these are the main use cases. Okay. So basically, it can be divided in two categories. These are access VPNs. Let's say, for example, from home office and mobile worker can access corporate office, or site-to-site managed VPNs. That's between two branch offices or one branch office and main office. All right. So this is one use case scenario. Okay, let's look at the one at the top. This is like a regular laptop. Okay, and this laptop is using IPsec. Okay, so now the packet that is generating is not pure IP packet. So it's IPsec packet. It's usually IP header, and also packet will have IPsec header. And then of course this is a payload which is secure. In some sense, it's encrypted and it's authenticated, or it has a hash key available for authentication. Okay, and when it reaches to other end, okay, say for example, it's trying to talk to a device here. Internet will not know anything about it. Internet will look at only IP header, outer IP header, and transport it. And when it reaches to the gateway at the destination, then this IPsec header is removed by gateway, and then simple IP packet is sent to the destination. That's one scenario. The second scenario is that you are connecting two campuses. So for example, this is one campus and this is another campus, and there is a gateway. Okay, so always we assume that between two enterprises or two campuses, there is always a gateway for each entity. Okay, so here the machines here has left the responsibility of securing their data to the gateway. Okay, for example, there's a tunnel between IIT Goa campus, and if there another campus starts, so in between that, the system admin guys will create a kind of tunnel. Now, this duration of this tunnel could be very long, right? So in that case, users, for example, a student in one campus will not bother about about security because they'll assume that system will take care of. So this is the scenario here. Okay. So this IP payload is a plain IP, is within plain IP packet and goes to gateway. Gateway inserts IPsec header here. When it reaches the other gateway, it removes the IPsec header and gives it to the network. And finally goes to destination. Simple. Now let's look at IPsec architecture. Architecture in general here is gives us kind of layers we are going to use. It kind of protocols we are going to use. I'm not using term layer here because layer essentially means the top layer is dependent on the bottom layer and so on. So we are just talking about different technologies that are used. Okay. Okay. So two modes of propagation here. One is tunnel mode, and we have seen tunnel mode earlier also in case of L2TP and PPTP, right? I mean, we put one packet inside another packet. Okay. Like in a big envelope or big packet containing small envelopes and then goes, right? So this is a form of tunnel. Transport is another mode where you use the header of original IP packet and then do encryption and authentication, into the payload and then ship the packet. Okay, so and in addition to these two types of mode of propagation, we use two types of headers. Okay, now many applications require both encryption as well as authentication. Okay, in that case, we use first technology called ESP, which is encapsulating security payload. And now many applications may require only authentication, may not require encryption. Okay, in that case, second header, which is called AH, authentication, can be used. So either ESP or AH is used. Okay, a packet cannot contain both ESP and AH headers. It contains either ESP or AH. Okay, again, repeat. ESP is done when both encryption and authentication is required. AH is used when only authentication is required. Okay. So now we see there are four combinations: transport kind of propagation and tunnel kind of propagation, and each can use two kinds of headers, which is ESP and AH. Now it's all confusing. So I will request you to wait for some time and then we'll look at these. And then I will again ask you to look at these in detail when you have time. Okay. And then we have two more protocols. It's called Internet Security Association and Key Management Protocol, which is ISAKMP. And second is called IKE, Internet Key Exchange Protocol. Now, Security Association Protocol we will not go into detail. We'll just touch upon. And similarly, IKE, again, we will see basic principle how it works. Okay. Now, here we have IP header, then AH header or ESP header. As I said, this is not a layered protocol stack that's shown in this figure. It's just inside outer IP packet. Okay, there will be AH header, which is required only for authentication, or it will have ESP header, which is required for encapsulation and authentication. And of course, it will have IP data, which is encrypted or without encryption. Okay. IP data can also go without encryption if the mode is AH mode. Now, encryption here is used in this diagram just to show that it's secure. All right. So this diagram gives in gist or in summary what are different kind of technologies used. Okay. Now, first thing first is that keys needs to be exchanged. Okay. We are creating symmetric tunnel. Okay, symmetric encryption based tunnel, right? So both hands will use the same key, symmetric key, which is shared key. Okay, and then in order to exchange these keys over insecure medium, we are going to use Diffie-Hellman here. Then authentication, we have seen that we need to, when we need to authenticate a message, we have methodologies available. We have studied these in detail, that we take hash of the message, okay, and then we send that with encryption or without encryption, depending on the protocol that we are using, right? So two kinds of choices are available, MD5 and SHA. We discussed these in brief in one of the lectures. Then encryption, we are going to use, what are different types of symmetric encryption that we are going to use, right? Here, all this protocol, DES, 3DES, and AES are symmetric encryption protocols. Okay, and then IPsec protocol, as we have seen, uses two modes, tunnel mode and transport mode, which is not shown here, but it uses two types of headers. One is ESP and second is AH. Okay. Configuration, you can configure the protocol in such a way that we can use only encryption, that's shown as ESP, or only authentication, which is authentication AH mode. Okay. All right. So repeat, we can use different kinds of key exchange protocols, different types of authentication hashing mechanism, hashing algorithms, and then also different kind of symmetric encryption can be chosen, and then we can choose the mode in which the header is generated. Okay. I will go into details now. Now, please understand that studied just now that we are going to use IKE, Internet Key Exchanges, for exchanging of keys. Okay, and first phase of the protocol is exchanging of keys. Okay, and creating understanding, that we call it security association. Right, it means that security association defines what kind of algorithms we are going to use, right? What kind of authentication protocols we are going to use, what kind of encryption we are going to use, and what is the key. See, we can decide on, say, 3DES encryption protocol, but okay, that itself requires some negotiation. But at the same time, we also need to decide on the key that they are going to use, and both will use the same key, right? So that is to be also available, right? So IKE does mutual authentication, establishment of session, and key distribution. Okay, so first phase is Internet Key Exchange, where all the understanding about security parameters and key exchanges will happen, and then actual transmission starts. And the last phase is where transmission is complete, that whole thing is disconnected. Two type of headers that we are going to use is ESP and AH. First, ESP is encapsulating security payload, and AH is authentication header. Now, when we use ESP, remember E, although it stands for encapsulation, but we can think in terms of encryption and hash. Encryption and hash both are used. However, through configuration, only encryption can be used here. And similarly, if we don't want to use encryption, then we use only hash for authentication, and this kind of header called AH. Now let's look at two modes, and then in these two modes we'll apply these two, that ESP and AH. Okay, as we said, there are four combinations. Now, tunnel mode we have studied in L2TP, etc. That we are creating tunnel between gateways. Okay, so here in this mode, the packet will send only ordinary IP packet, and then packet will put inside another IP packet and will send here. That's called tunnel mode. Okay, and transport mode, which is end to end, original IP packet is taken, and then header will remain same, and in between the payload and header is another field corresponding to transport mode beside it. Okay. This in this mode, security, which is security is applied end to end. Okay. Now again, when we say security is applied, it can be AH mode or ESP mode. So if it's AH mode, we are doing only authentication end to end. If it's ESP mode, then we are doing authentication and encryption end to end. Here, if we are using AH, then we are using authentication between these two. And of course, AH will also require some kind of encapsulation. And when you are using ESP, then we are creating tunnel and we are using both encryption as well as authentication. Okay? So remember that there are 4 combinations. Okay. Now we'll look at these in brief. Okay. So first is tunnel mode. When we are creating tunnel between gateways. Now when we discussed that when 2 important things for creating VPN is tunneling and encryption. Okay, tunneling is essentially hiding the identity of original or hiding the original IP packet. Okay, so for example, at our time this method was used when you're sending a letter to your fiancée or girlfriend, then you can't post the letter to her address, right? Because parents will be the first to object that. Okay, then what you do is that you put this onto another packet and send it to her friend, or his, so what happens that the friend will take this, receive it at certain address and remove the outer envelope and give it to the friend, right? So same thing we are doing in case of gateway here, right? I mean, in tunnel mode, there is a outer header and the original packet is intact. So we are creating a tunnel. Now, as we said, this new IP header could be same as inner IP header, or it could be address of the gateway, or it could be something else, right? Such that it passes through gateway. And once it passes through gateway, it can intercept it and then do all the processing and send the original packet to the destination, right? So the header here could be AH, this authentication header, or ESP, right? Okay. Any question? No, then let's move ahead. So this is the example. This is an encrypted packet, and this is an encrypted packet, and then again encrypted packet, right? So we have created a tunnel here by encrypting this IP packet inside another IP packet. Okay. Now, okay, and then we are also doing encryption and then authentication here. Now, tunnel mode is applicable between gateways. Okay, so this is the header that we are going to use. This is the original IP packet. Into that we are applying IP header, new IP header, and then we are using either AH or ESP. That we'll see next. So this is how we create IPsec packet, right? So this is the original packet, and then this goes inside as a payload of a new packet. So this is the payload for that, and this is the additional header that we introduced, and this is new IP header. Okay. So now this protects both payload and IP header. It means that when we are doing encryption, then everything is to be encrypted, the payload and IP header. Okay. So tunneling works as follows. Alice is sending a message to Bob. Alice will send her message as it is. Okay, that IP packet will go as it is. Like I mean, letter from her home will go up to some friend or post office or some friend as it is, and then this friend is going to put that letter or packet into another packet. Okay, that's defined by tunneling rules. Okay, if you are using ESP, it will define how it should be done, and then finally it will go to Bob. So this gateway will take out IPsec related info and do a decryption and check whether it has come from right source. Okay, and everything is okay, then we'll send decrypted packet to Bob. Okay, all right. So now let's look at the transport mode. So what we have discussed so far is tunnel mode, where one packet goes inside. Now look at the transport mode. Here we are going to use same IP header. And then between the IP header and payload, we are going to insert IPsec header. So IP header remains the same. Payload remains the same. Payload comes here and this IPsec header. Now this, of course, when we send this whole packet, then depending on the header, we have to transform this part, right? If you are using encryption, right? So ESP header here. Yeah, IPsec again header can be ESP or AH. If you are using ESP, then this will be encrypted. So if we are using AH, then it's not going to be encrypted. But we'll use something to calculate whether packet is intact, right, or it has come from right source. All right. Now remember, note that this original IP header is in plain text or is clear, right? So it may not be as secure as in case of tunnel, but security comes here with encryption and authentication. Okay, it means, for example, Alice is sending a letter to Bob, but she doesn't care whether. I'm sorry, I'm telling it this way. Bob is sending a letter to Alice. Okay, and Bob doesn't care where Alice's parents will know that letter has come from Bob. All Bob wants to know is that whatever he is sending, they will not be able to read what's written. Okay, so letter will go to parent, but he will encrypt the letter in such a way that only Alice can read it. I mean, do something, right? I mean, even 100 years back, methods were used, right, to change A to B or A to C or A to D and B to E and so on, right? So some kind of ciphering Bob can use. So this exactly same mechanism is applied here, that IP header is the same. It will follow the same path it was doing normally, but something inside is different, right? Is either encrypted or there is a hash, or encryption or hash, depending on payload, depending on IPsec header. So now this methodology can be used end to end. Alice has to send a packet to Bob. Okay, then she will transform the packet right there. Okay, she will apply IPsec rules, check whether it is ESP or AH, and send this to Bob. If it's ESP, then she will encrypt. She will use some cipher and then change the contents of the letter such that ordinary person cannot read it, excepting for Bob. Because only Bob will decrypt it and be able to read it. If it's authentication, it means that she will make sure that it's coming from Alice. So Bob can make out that it's coming from Alice. All right. So we have seen that we are using two modes, tunnel mode and transport mode, and within that we are using ESP and AH. Okay, and of course we are using IKE. So this combination of tunnel, transport, ESP, AH, and IKE forms the whole protocol set. Okay. All right. Now let's look at ESP, Encapsulating Security Protocol. Now ESP stands for encryption and authentication. Remember that. Okay. Encryption is applied to packet payload, and after encryption is applied, authentication is applied to the data in IPsec header and data contained in the payload. Okay. All right. Okay. Now this was just a minute. Just move it to something. Okay. Okay. All right. Just a minute. I lost track. Okay. All right. Okay. So we were here. Okay. So there are two kinds of header. One is ESP and second is AH. So we have studied this. Okay. Now let's look at the example, then it becomes much clearer. Okay. So this is ESP in transport mode. Okay. Now transport mode, we have seen that we are not putting one packet fully inside another, right? So the header remains the same. In case of, Bob is sending a letter to Alice, then he will use Alice's actual address where she lives, right? And then change the content inside such that nobody else can read apart from her. So original IP header will remain, and now inside this, right, whatever TCP header and data is there, that has to be changed. Okay. So and then she is going to also insert AH header here, right? Since we are using AH header. Now we are using AH header, it means that we are not going to encrypt this data. Okay. We are using simply some kind of hash of whatever, right? So hash coverage here in this case is starting from beginning of IP header to the end, and that hash value is going as part of AH header. Okay. And in addition to that, we are going to use few other fields. Next header, which means that here in this case, next header is TCP. So there will be some value corresponding to TCP. Okay. And then payload line, some fields are reserved. And there is something called security parameter index, right? Security parameter index, we'll see later, right? Is essentially gives what are different security parameters we are going to exchange. We put all those security parameters inside a database, and then index of that entry in database is called security parameter index. That we send it to destination node for them to know what security rules have been agreed upon. And there is a sequence number. Okay. All right. So keyed hash is nothing but message authentication code that we have studied earlier, right? So basically, important thing that is going here is, okay. Okay, all right. So let's complete this. Is a keyed hash, and the parameter exchanges that happen, right? The understanding between the two, what kind of algorithms are to be used. Okay. Okay. And then when we are using ESP in transport mode, just a minute. Okay. Now, in transport mode, we are using ESP. It means that we are using encryption and also authentication. So then original IP packet will remain same. Original IP header will remain same. We will insert a ESP header, and also we'll insert ASP-Taylor, and an authentication part. So this will get appended to the original IP packet. Now here you see in AH mode, when we see in AH mode here, then the data remains the same. We are using only authentication part, right? So here, however, in ESP mode, this data is encrypted, okay? And also ESP-Taylor is also encrypted, okay? And then we have authentication hash value appended here, okay? And parameters, all other parameters are same, right? Security index parameter. Now in here we have also init vector which shows what kind of encryption is to be used, and so on. Okay, so now we have seen ASP and AH in transport mode. Okay, this is this is ASP in transport mode. Okay, where the data inside is encrypted and authentication hash is applied, and also parameter exchanges happen when packet reaches the other end. It should know what kind of decryption to be applied. Okay. Okay. Note here that the whole thing is not working in what do you call that? In the knowledge of state of the connection, right? Okay. When you say, for example, do TCP, the TCP knows that how many packets are exchanged, their sequence number, and so on and so forth, right? So, for example, AH may not work in fully sync up mode, right? So it means that every time every packet has to carry some information about decryption and so on. So this is how this security parameter index field is sent to destination node, and it knows what kind of decryption methods and protocols can be applied. Okay, and what is the decryption key also, because this simply gives index of the database which is in the B or destination. Now let's look at ESP in tunnel mode. Okay, so what we have seen earlier is ESP in transport mode, both ESP and authentication transport mode. Now we are looking at ESP in tunnel mode. Tunnel mode, remember, one packet goes inside another packet. So this is the new IP header, and then ESP header, and this is the original IP packet that's now encrypted. And there is for authentication, there is a authentication code here, which is MAC. Okay, and all other fields inside ESP header is same as that we have discussed earlier here, right? Security parameter index, sequence number, and init vector, and next header all remains the same in this case. Okay, and then we have authentication header in tunnel mode, where IP header, this original. Okay. Okay. So here the original packet goes inside the other packet because they're tunnel mode, and new IP header is applied. But look at this text here remains same as here. The color is the same, right? It means that it has not been encrypted. Only thing is that authentication header, which is essentially hash coverage, hash value is applied and carries the hash value to other end. Also, so basically there are 4 combinations. We can use either tunnel mode or transport mode. Tunnel mode, we put one IP packet inside another IP packet, and also applied encryption and authentication, which is hashed message MAC, or we use instead of transport we can also use instead of tunnel we can use transport mode. So there are 2 modes, transport mode and tunnel mode, and then we can apply encryption, authentication, or only authentication. So this makes 4 combinations. Right? So we have studied these 4. Any question? Any question? Okay, all right. Um, okay, I would again request you to go through book and also go through few tutorials available on internet to grasp this because it's complex, right? Number of combination makes it difficult to understand why and what use case scenario we are going to use these combinations, right? So now this diagram shows what is covered, right? When we are going to use the ESP mechanism, then only part of the payload, right? So the part of the overall packet we are encrypting. For example, only something that's inside that's the original IP packet is getting encrypted. Okay. Now, when you use AH mode, because in AH mode we are using only hash, it can be applied to everything. This is in transport mode. Similarly, in tunnel mode, we are going to use only part of the original packet. Okay. So essentially, inner IP header and high level protocols are encrypted. Okay. However, AH is applied to everything. So ESP is applied only to tunnel packet. Okay. In case of ESP, in case of AH, we can calculate the hash value to everything. Okay. Looks little complex. Okay. There's a concept of security association. This is one-way relationship between sender and receiver. Okay, it defines IPsec processing for the sender and IPsec decoding for the destination. So between a sender and receiver, security association is fixed. Is not fixed. Okay, it's based on different things, right? It's generated every time. Okay, security association will define a lot of things. For example, it will define what kind of protocols are to be used, what is the and also it will define the key. What is the key that is to be used? Okay, each security association has a unique index called security parameter index (SPI), and this SPI is included in outgoing packet, such that receiver can use it to look up at the destination security association in the database and unprocess the packet. Okay. So method is as follows. A and B agree on security parameters. Both A and B will store same assay to describe these parameters. Okay. So security is once there is an understanding after IKE is used. Okay. Then there is security understanding what protocols and what is the key values, and that is kept in a security association. Okay, it's kind of a vector we can think of. I mean, or certain values corresponding to a relationship between A and B is kept in a database. Okay, and B will send as part of key exchange. Once this understanding is there, then B will send the index of this association, that assay, to A, right? And similarly, A sends the index of it in its own database to B. Okay, so when A is communicating with B, then it will, as a part of header, it will send SPI, which is index in the B's database. Okay, so when B receives this packet and it looks at IPsec value, that SPI value, the index value, it will go to database and look at the details of that understanding. Okay, and then do decryption and so on. Okay. All right. So, and then there is a policy, security policy database, which has policies, various policies. Okay. So, what security association database will contain? Each this database will contain security association. It will contain lifetime of a security association, AH and ESP information, whether it's using tunnel and transport mode, and also key values. Okay. When you say ESP, then of course it will be key and AH related or hash value, etc. When it's AH, then possibly only hash values. Okay. Okay. Let's look at this one. This is a diagram again. We have used that we are using transport mode here, which is end to end. Okay. Okay. Now let's look at example. We are using transport mode here, which is end to end. It means that A has to send data to B, and it can use any protocol, and it could be any port. Okay. Now, did you remember this? Okay, you notice here this SPD, Security Policy Database. Okay, so when A has generated traffic, then it will look at for a destination B, then it will look at a database and find out that some policy is to be used, which says that apply AH, and this is the algorithm, HMAC MD5. Okay, so it means that header type will be AH, and then authentication type or MAC type, message authentication code will be MD5. Okay, and now this information that he has seen from the database, policy database, will go into its own security association. Okay, so from A to B, it will say use protocol AH, SPI, then it will store this in database, then it's in, or sorry, the index will be 12. Okay, and then this kind of MD5 keys to be applied. Okay, when A sends traffic to B, it includes SPI in the IPsec header so that B can use it to look up a security association and unprocess the traffic. Now, note here that SPI value is corresponding to B's SPI value. Okay. All right. So similarly, we can see that in case of tunnel mode, this is security policy database. When C has to send it, when A has to send it to B, and when C receives this packet from A, it will look at security policy database. It says that packet from A subnet is going to B subnet, and then it says that okay, then use ESP protocol, which is CDES protocol. Okay, and then it in its own database, it will put if data is coming from A sub to B sub, use ESP. SPI will be 14 corresponding to B's database, and then the encryption method is CDES. Okay, so the flow is as follows. When A is sending packet to B, it will first check, the node will first check whether it is for IPsec, and if so, then what policy to be applied. Based on the destination address, it can look at the policies to be applied. Then it can look at the security association corresponding to B, okay, and SPI of B, and these two values are put into the packet and sent to B. And when B receives it, okay, it will go to its own database corresponding to SPI value is received from A, okay, and then look at the security, and then it will do the decryption, etc., and then look at SPD, security policy database, to check whether everything happened correctly. Okay. So it's something, again, we'll read it. Using SPI, look at the security association in asset database, unprocess the packet using decryption and hashing, and then verify it with SPD whether everything happened as per policy. And then packet is sent to higher layers. So, all right. Now it may confuse you, right? I mean, it's there are too many things we have discussed in a short period. Okay, so I will ask you to please reread this content at least 2 times and look at the references from Wikipedia or other sources to understand the whole flow, because it's not very because a number of combinations, complexity is coming. Okay, I will repeat this once again, but before that, let's look at in the brief the concept of internet key exchange. Okay, now the whole flow can be summarized here. Outbound packet from Alice is to be sent to Bob. In the beginning, there is no security association essay. There is no security association. Okay, just give me a minute. All right. Okay, so what will happen? The next step, Alice AKE begins negotiation with Bob. So there is a, right now, the first time the packet has come, there is no association. Then there is a negotiation between Alice and Bob's IKEs. Okay, and as part of that, when negotiation is complete, right, negotiation completes, and Alice and Bob now have complete ISAC essay in place. Means that there is understanding between Alice and Bob's machines that what kind of protocols are to be used, whether it is ESP or AH, is a tunnel mode or transport mode. So now, since two machines are talking to each other, then we know that is going to be going to be transport mode. All right. Okay, and then once that understanding is there, then encrypted packets are sent to Alice using IPsec security association. Encrypted and also authenticated is using let's say ESP. If using AH, then it will be just authenticated packet. Okay. Any question on this one? Rahul, are you able to understand it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay, so this shows some flow. It goes something like this. Now, first step. Now again, as I said, there is large number of configurations possible of this protocol, right? The first step here in this configuration is that we can also use digital certificate to authenticate. Okay. Okay. Now we have seen that we have used digital certificate to authenticate public keys. Okay. Now here we are using, now if we apply a similar concept of public key and private key or corresponding to Diffie-Hellman algorithm, then we'll see we can use this to authenticate different nodes here. Okay. So first step, we'll see that using digital certificate authority, we are going to authenticate some public addresses. Okay. Here in this case, since we have not discussed that part here, so let's not get into detail. So next step is that the security association has to be formed. Okay, as we have seen in earlier case here, the first thing is that security association between two entities are to be formed. Okay. So here also that security association is to be formed. Okay, once it is there, then data transfer can happen, right? So, okay, so next step is data transfer. Okay, so a packet from here source will go in this way to other side. So the part of the packet here is encrypted and part of the packet is in clear text. Header is in clear text and part of the packet is encrypted. Okay, and when it reaches to other end, then it just removes the header and gives the original packet to destination. Okay. Here, I think in this case they are using tunnel mode, and then you are using both authentication and encryption. Okay. So now, since there are two nodes here, so then it has to be tunnel mode, and this is a clear one coming in. So it will use, I think, either it's using ESP because its encryption is there. Okay? So encryption and tunnel mode use case is shown here. Okay, we are not going into detail. So IKE has two phases. First phase is establishment of initial tunnel, which is called IKE or ISA KMP Security Association, where peers are authenticated, encryption and hashing algorithms are negotiated, keys are exchanged based on IKE policy set. If successful, then IKE Security Association is established. It means that understanding between two nodes has reached and SA has been formed. Security Association is formed, which will contain what? It will contain what are the protocols we are going to use for authentication and hashing. And the keys knowledge is also there, right? So it means the whole understanding is there. Once that happens, then data transfer can start. Okay. Okay, and phase two establish the IPsec channel, which details AH and ESP parameters for securing data. Okay, all right. So let's get in brief about. Okay, so there are two phases as we said, and in order to exchange, in order to come out with common key, okay, used for encryption, we use Diffie-Hellman. Okay. Now, Diffie-Hellman key exchange protocol is the basis for RSA protocol. Okay, it's very intuitive and very interesting. And I will send you a PPT after maybe after some time because I prepared a lecture on RSA and mathematics around it. So this protocol was invented in Stanford by two professors, Diffie and Hellman. Okay, and they actually were thinking what should be the way of distributing these keys, right? There's symmetric keys. So the symmetric key algorithm is in existence for a very long time, and this problem was always there: how to exchange keys between two entities. Okay, so key exchange algorithm is used to establish a shared symmetric key. It means that both ends should have same shared symmetric key, and okay, it's not for encrypting and signing, right? So basically, whole idea is that we should have same value of symmetric key, and this information that is to be exchanged in order to achieve that is over insecure channel. Okay. The problem is as follows. Given you value of GP and G raised power K mod P, you know the mod function, right? So these are the known values, right? GP and G raised power K mod P. Okay. Now, how do you find exponent K? Now, K here is secret. Now, it is very difficult. Given G raised power K mod P, this value, it's extremely hard or almost infeasible to find out the value of K. Okay. Now, this is because of discrete log problem. or okay, so you can do this exercise at home. Okay, now let's define it further. P is prime number and GB a generator. Okay, uh, okay, and for any x which is an element of a set 1 up to p minus 1, there is value of n such that x is equal to g raised power n mod p. Okay, all right. So this is very simple condition, right? P is a prime. So when you use p as when you use something use mod p, then answer is obviously less than p. Okay, in general, right? I mean, of course, if you're understanding modular mathematics, then not necessarily it has to be always less than, but it could be minus, it could be more than p also, right? But let's restrict this to 1 up to p minus 1 because we're using mod. Okay. Now, Alice selects her private value A and Bob selects his private value B. Okay. Alice sends G raised power A mod P to Bob. Okay. Note that G is known to everyone, right? We have seen that what is known to everyone is G, P, and this value, calculated value. Okay. So, whereas A is private to Alice and B is private to Bob, Alice can always calculate G raised power A mod P, and this whole value can be public. And she sends this value to Bob. Okay. Now note that if there is a 2D in between, the 2D will know following things. 2D will know P, and 2D will know G, this value, G raised power A mod P. Okay. And 2D will also know G. But can 2D calculate from this value of A? No. Okay. Similarly, Bob sends value of G raised power B mod P to Alice. Okay. Now note that G is known to both Bob and Alice. P is known to Bob and Alice. Bob decides on value of A. Alice decides on value of, Alice decides on value of A. So she calculates G raised power A mod P to and sends it to Bob. Bob knows value of B, which is private key, and calculates this value and sends it to Alice. And both compute the shared secret, which is G raised power AB mod P. Okay. And this value is shared symmetric key. Looks like a magic? Okay, do this calculation. So I will look at the example in very brief. Okay, the protocol is as follows. First, let's look at the protocol and then we'll look at one example. Okay, public is G and P. Okay. And then Alice calculates G raised power A using her own private value. She calculates G raised power A and does this function mod P and sends it to Bob. Bob calculates G raised power B mod P because B is known to Bob. Okay, and then from this, both compute G raised power AB mod P. Okay, and this is very simple, right? She gets what Alice will get from Bob is G raised power B mod P. Okay, and then she knows value of A. Then power of that she does, right? Suppose this value is 5 and this value is 6. B is 5, A is 6. Then she knows this value which she has received from Bob. So this power of whatever value of A she does, and she gets G raised power BA, which is G raised power AB mod P. Similarly, Bob will does the same thing. Whatever value he will get from Alice, this is, and does power of B, because B he knows, and calculate this value. And this value notice is the same with both Bob and Alice. So this can be used as a symmetric key. Now, can 2D find this out in between? So let's assume that Bob 2D has received this value, and 2D has also received this value. Let's look one example here. Okay. So 2D of course cannot, because 2D will know g raised power a or g raised power b, and it just multiplies them, then he will get g raised power ab. So 2D cannot, knowing g raised power a and g raised power b, 2D can never find out g raised power ab, which is the key. Okay. All right. So this is the trick Diffie-Hellman have used. Okay. All right. So just before we go into this one, let's take this example. Consider P is 17 and G is 6. Okay. When we say P, it means that essentially mod 17. So, and G is the value 6. And then Alice picks up value A is equal to 4. Bob picks up value B is equal to 5. Okay. So Alice calculates this value Y is equal to 6 raised power 4. Y is a value that is to be exchanged actually. I mean, so Alice calculates 6 is G. So G raised power her own private key, which is 4 mod 17, is equal to 1296 mod 17 is equivalent to 4. Okay. Now Alice will send value of 4 to Bob. Now Bob will calculate, he knows the value of G, which is the public knowledge, uses his own private key, which is 5, and then mod 17, which is 1776 mod 17 is equal to 7. Okay, you can verify these values, right? Okay. Now Alice calculates based on the value she received from Bob. She is calculating now the key, right? K, which which we call as K. Okay. What will she do? She will get the value 7 that she has received from Bob, which is nothing but G raised power B. And into that, she does another power of her own key, which is 4. And mod 17, she will get 2401 mod 17 equivalent to 4. Okay. Now Bob will receive what? Bob will receive the value that this value which Alice has sent, use his own key, which is 5. So 4 is for 5 mod 17 is 1024 mod 17 is equal to 4. So both receive the same thing. Okay, looks like magic. Very interesting. Very, I mean, it first sense it looks like a magic, right? I mean, knowing this, value of P and G and the calculated value that they are exchanging, 2D is not able to find out the key. Okay, that's A and B. Once A is known, then B can, then G raised power AB can be calculated, because, either G raised power A is known or G raised power B known. So once we know corresponding which that's left out, either A or B, then we can calculate this key. Okay, all right. So I will just go back. Now I will request you to please read this. It's part of your algorithm course. I guess it should have been taught because. So we were here, we looked at Diffie-Hellman, and then let's complete our discussion of IPsec, right? So first step is that we are using there are two modes in IKE phase 1, main mode and aggressive mode. We are looking at the main mode. First, Alice sends what are the crypto suits that she she suggests it to Bob. Bob selects one, okay, and then whatever crypto suit has been selected by Alice and Bob both, right? Uh, all, that's fine, but key is to be there, right? I mean, so they decided on using, for example, 3 DES, but there has to be key. Now, key exchange is done through Diffie-Hellman, that Alice sends G raised power A mod P, Bob sends G raised power B mod P, and it means that now both Alice and Bob can calculate the value of key. And then normal, right? And then after this, using this key, they can do authentication. That they will encrypt Alice and the proof I am Alice, and then maybe nonce they will send, and then Bob will respond back. Okay. Okay, so this is all about IPsec. Use cases we have already discussed. When somebody wants to connect over VPN to corporate office or to somebody else, then they can use IPsec. So it achieves data origin authentication, confidentiality, connectionless integrity, and replay protection. Replay protection we have not studied here. It's with the use of nonce. Okay. To summarize, IPsec has 5 steps. Okay. As soon as a traffic comes, the node has to decide whether it is to be secured or not. If it is secured, it's called interesting traffic. Okay. Then IKEA phase 1 starts. The peers are authenticated. Keys are exchanged, and IKEA policy set is negotiated. It means that in phase 1, security association is established. Okay. In phase 2, IPsec transformation set, whether AH and ESP parameters are negotiated. Okay, and then after that, data transfer happens based on security policy, and session is turned down once SA lifetime is over. Okay, all right. So IPsec is very important internet security protocol. It works at network layer. It has zero dependency. Since it works at network layer, it means that any application can run over this. Okay, because it's not visible to application on top of that. It provides high level of confidentiality. It's very complex. Okay, because of large number of options it provides. And this protocol, although is defined, but it has compatibility issue. It means that it also has certain disadvantage, that it has very high CPU usage, right? Because of encryption and so on. Okay. Okay. We have 3-4 minutes left out, so we'll just go through slides again to give you. Okay. Run over it again. So what we have seen is that IPsec works at network layer. Okay, it provides the following: authentication, integrity, and confidentiality. It helps from replay attack. Okay, it uses the following mechanism: encryption, hashing, signature certificates, and key distribution. Okay, we have seen this use case wherein node can be IPsec aware, wherein it will generate IPsec packets, or it may not be IPsec aware. So, but it will, there will be gateway, and gateway will will use IPsec. And the other end, IPsec headers are removed and sent normal packet, decrypted packet to node. Okay, the architecture we have seen here, we have Diffie-Hellman key exchanges, and there are versions of that: DH1, DH2, and DH5. So if you're using IPsec, and then we can use one of the three. Authentication could be using hash key, which could be MD5 or SHA. Encryption is symmetric encryption. Once understanding is reached, then same key is to be used. between two entities, and the encryption protocol could be DES, CDES, or AES. We have seen IPsec protocol of which uses encryption and authentication, or only authentication, or encryption authentication in combination. Okay, and various configuration parameters can be set to select each one of these. Okay, we have seen ESP and AH mode. We have seen transport in tunnel mode. Tunnel mode, packet goes inside another packet. And if you're using transport mode, we can use AH header or ESP header. That's only authentication we can use, or authentication and in combination with encryption we can use. Okay, we have seen tunnel mode. Okay, we have seen transport mode, wherein IP header remains intact. Only IPsec header goes between IP header and payload. So this, okay. Again, for for both transport and tunnel mode, we can use encapsulating security payload ESP or AH type, and then we have IKE. Okay. Here it shows various combinations, 4 different combinations. Okay, we have okay. Then we have SPD and SADB, which is security policy database and security association database. Each node will have security association database and also access to security policy database. Okay, policy database is usually for a subnet kind, right? So using SPD, we can find out what kind of authentication, say for example, MAC is to be used, and all that information is then put into security association database. This also includes the SPI, which is security policy, security parameter index of the destination node, right? So once this is sent to destination node, the destination node can look at the details and can do decryption and other processes. So that's shown here. The flow is shown in this diagram. And then we have discussed in brief IKE, how keys are exchanged, and then we looked at Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm. Okay, all right, we have seen this.